What if there was a diet famous for reducing complications in pregnancy? Is that a Pandora box? Magical gifts from God? Yes, it is. Magical and all gifted to us by the lovely nature. This is the Birth Agni podcast, the fire that brings us alive, that burns myths and opens a channel of authentic natural birth stories. This show debunks the many myths of the medicalized births, showcases the plethora of choices a pregnant couple can make to embark on their empowered birth journey. I'm Divya Kapoor, a certified birth and lactation counselor and an aspiring traditional birth attendant. Let's get the flames blazing high. Dr. Brewer's pregnancy diet. What the heck is that? We'll uncover in this episode. I'm recording right now and it's not even day yet. Devi is sleeping and I have some time by myself. You can see that I have a sore throat. But we are managing. Today's episode is a solo, so I'm going to talk about Dr. Brewer's pregnancy diet and how it came about. One of the things that I promised in the previous episodes was that there are going to be some free awareness programs. Those programs are live. They are there on my website. You can go ahead and go to events. The free awareness campaigns or programs or webinars, whatever you call it, are going to be live every 3 weeks. And this is what I'm going to do in the next 3 months. So you can avail it as soon as possible. And based on the signups, we're going to have our sessions. And now, if you are pregnant and have been consuming information online or on blogs about nutrition, you must have already come across it. Dr. Brewer's pregnancy diet. Birth workers do know about it, and I wanted to share the basics with you as I've always been intrigued by the various diet systems, the traditional diet systems of the world, including our own very own Ayurveda in India. And I will draw the parallels as we move ahead. So think about it. A pregnancy diet for dealing with complications. Yes. How's that? And how easy now does it make for us to gain control back on our own life and pregnancy? So if you are pregnant and you haven't considered taking care of your nutrition or diet yet, it is great to begin anytime now. Anytime now, all right? Any kind of beginning at any stage of pregnancy is great for you, right? Also, it's important to note that sometimes care is needed only when you show signs. So, if you've been eating healthy at home and you're feeling good, everything is good, you particularly do not need anything more. A healthy diet, home diet, is just great to start with. And if you seem to find some hiccups, some pain, some cramps, etc., you can check with your midwife, your doula, or childbirth educator for help in order to tweak your diet a little and begin the resolution there. Otherwise, mostly nothing is required. Now, a note of caution. I'm not comfortable and I do not recommend planned diet charts that have no space for an individual's personal eating habits, what they have been eating traditionally all this while, all right? And a lot of Western education talks about including some specific foods, food types, which may not be native to you. So find someone who focuses on nutrition and the best alternatives in your tradition. Moreover, packaged food is never healthy, including bread. The bread that we get, right? Britannia, Mr. Brown's, whatever you have in your own city. So, packaged food is never healthy with sugar or with salt. I did not consume any bread at all in my pregnancy because our very own chapati, right? It's a bread. Roti is a bread, fresh bread, and you can have it. So I always, if I wanted something, I made a bit of a Frankie, a roll, like that, just to have my taste buds satisfied. You know, whenever you feel like having something spicy or nice or from outside. So I did my own way of including something. I ate a lot of tomato because I wanted to. I felt like eating a lot of tomato. So whatever you feel like eating is the best way to go ahead. But making sure that you're not consuming packaged food. It is never healthy. So before I lay down, which is what we began this episode with, Dr. Tom Brewer's basic pregnancy diet, which is a system. It's not a plan. It's called a plan, but it's a system. But before I lay that down for you, here's a bit about him. He was a gynecologist who worked extensively on nutrition with women in his practice, and he was also a lecturer. And this is how he came across the very gift of food as medicine in pregnancy. And this was even before he joined medical school. And I'm taking this in his own words from a print interview published on healthybirth.net. So he says on this website in this interview, and I'm going to quote it as it is. He says, I learned about the problem of eclampsia, or what I call the metabolic toxemia of late pregnancy, before I went to medical school. I was married and had a new baby, and we had a neighbor from Russia who often described conditions in that country and the toll they took on pregnant women. Times were very hard, food was scarce, and many women died of hemorrhage or convulsions. The Russian people at that time believed such events were the will of God and that women were meant to suffer in childbirth. But my neighbor believed the problem was simply a lack of food. This made sense to Dr. Brew, and this was his entry into focusing on nutrition in pregnancy alongside a few lectures early on in his practice that he heard from physicians, wherein they tried to talk about the problems of the rural areas and how, preeclampsia was more in the rural areas. And because of his understanding of diet and his interest in diet, which was already intrigued, he was able to connect the dots of the problem back to poor nutrition. Thereon, he did extensive research with his own mothers and built the various diet systems, not charts, like I said, mind you, that anyone can embrace in their life. So, here are the food groups he includes in his basic minimum diet system. When I say minimum, this is the base minimum you should be including. So, he says that your food plate in the entire day should have all of these food groups: milk and milk products. In India, we already are high on milk. We all have a lot of milk. Today, there might be a very different sort of a take on how milk is produced and whether or not we should have it. That's not for this episode. I'm not talking about how milk is produced and how it may not be great for your health. Um, when I do talk about milk and milk products, I do talk about it being produced in a more holistic way. Um, going to a dairy and checking how they keep their cows and how the milk is being produced is a great way to be able to start and begin there. But definitely to each their own. If you don't have milk products available, probably the same sort of a nutrition you could receive elsewhere because not every country is milk centric. But we as India are. So the first choice food group that he adds to his basic diet plan is milk and milk products. The second he says is calcium replacements as needed, which could be almonds, which could be nuts, which could be a kale in the countries where kale is eaten. It could be black olives. It could be any other food that is a calcium replacement. Eggs. So if you eat eggs, two of any style one can have. The fourth he says is protein combinations. And the protein combinations could be your non-vegetarian food like chicken, maybe fish. Fish you have to take care of, the fish without mercury. It could be beef liver, lamb, pork, kidney. And in terms of vegetables, it could be beans, it could be peanuts, it could be tofu. I am not big on tofu. I do not recommend tofu personally because of the way tofu is produced, and soya bean in itself needs to be properly soya bean needs to be kept and used properly. And if you're not doing that, it's not being used well. So I personally do not know how tofu is made. So I'm not big on tofu. But of course, like peanuts, beans, rice or wheat combinations with dal, lentils, etc. All these are different protein combinations that one can have. Black beans, kidney beans, rajma, um, all of those are great. Then the next he says is fresh dark green vegetables of your choice. Whatever you like, you can have. Whole grains. And again, Indian diet is big on whole grains. We eat a lot of wheat, we have rice, we have our own variety of rice, we have our own variety of wheat. Um, so that is the basic that we eat. Then vitamin C foods. Vitamin C foods could be any fruits, including fruits in your diet, at least two. Then he says fats and oils. Fats and oils are very important in pregnancy and you need to take it. It is not that you eat fat and it becomes fat in your body. Fat is required for your brain to function. It is very important. So, choosing the kind of fat you include, the kind of oils you include. In India, we have ghee, we have mustard oil. All these are great. And in your country, you have to figure out what is local, what is the best for you in terms of oil. Then vitamin A foods. It could be carrots, it could be pumpkin. Pumpkin is great for pregnancy. Pumpkin, vegetable made out of pumpkin. When I say vegetable, a sabzi made out of pumpkin, a dish made up out of pumpkin is great. Um, Potatoes, sweet potatoes are great. Vitamin A is also there in apple. So, apple is great. Apricots are great. Vitamin A foods, definitely. And for all those who are non vegetarians, beef, calf, chicken, pork, etc., etc. Salt and other salt sources. Salt to taste is the best way to go about in pregnancy. And the kind of salt you can choose, Himalayan, sea salt, all of those are great. Water to thirst is important. Not forcing a lot of liquids onto you is the best way. Uh, I personally believe in eating the fruit rather than having a juice. Um, so, bite into your fruit, eat your fruit rather than take the juice out of it and have it. Um, for the very reason that the roughage is taken out of the fruit itself, which acts in balance with the juice, with the sugary juice that the fruit has. Once you take out only the juice, the roughage is lost, and the juice just gets a lot of sugar into your bloodstream. So I am not big on that. But once in a while is okay, of course. And then he talks about snacking. Eating every 2 hours is what Dr. Brewer recommends, which is very similar to how in India we eat. We recommend food to be eaten in Ayurveda for pregnant women every 2 hours. You have your three basic meals and then you have snacks every 2 hours. Snacks could be fruit, could be these protein sources, could be your milk products, could be anything else. Anything from the groups that we have already mentioned. When it comes to supplements, I'm not big on synthetic supplements. I would always encourage you to eat whole food or have natural supplements when you need it. Also, supplements may not be required if you don't need it. Any kind of herb, if you include in your diet, you still are changing and tweaking your diet. So, when it's required, adding it to your diet is great. Supplementing with it is great. Otherwise, I would always think that it is going to put pressure on your liver, even if it's herbal. And here, Dr. Brewer, alongside his entire diet, food groups, which I'm going to repeat: milk, whole grains, calcium replacements, vitamin C foods, eggs, fats and oils, proteins, vitamin A foods, liver, salt sources, water, snacking, and then fresh dark green vegetables, plus supplements, which need to be taken with caution. And then with this basic pregnancy diet, most of your pregnancy diet is taken care of. One of the things he includes here is, which is so important, is diuretics. He completely suggests against it. Now, what are diuretics? We will discuss diuretics in detail in one of the upcoming episodes. So, I'm going to brief why and how diuretics can be detrimental to your health in pregnancy and can have an impact in your pregnancy. What are diuretics? Here he means diuretic drugs. Sometimes, if you have edema, a little bit of a swelling, a high blood pressure once or twice, a diuretic sometimes is given thinking that it will reduce blood pressure. However, we need to understand how the blood works in pregnancy and how and why diuretics may not be the best recommended option in pregnancy. So, a diuretic is basically a drug or a herb that triggers kidneys to release more fluid with sodium to reduce blood pressure or swelling. Dr. Tom argues against it, saying that without sourcing the cause of edema in pregnancy, simply using a diuretic in the form of tea or herbs or a drug can have the excess fluids, including the nutrients released from your system, which means that a woman's body will have lowered fluid levels in her blood volume, meaning that because her body is trying to maintain and increase the blood volume to be able to supply it to placenta, to be able to supply it to the baby, and the blood volume which was supposed to increase is now decreasing, and hence it can further increase blood pressure when the body needs to maintain a blood volume for the necessary function of the placenta and nurturing the baby. Now, we need to understand the various reasons as to why a woman in pregnancy may have edema, and is it only about blood pressure or it is something much more than that. So this, along with a more detailed understanding of diuretics, we will have in an upcoming episode. So that was Dr. Brewer's diet system, and according to my understanding, it is very similar to our Indian diet system, where a woman is encouraged to eat every 2 hours in silence, if possible, in Sukhasana, which is folded legs position, to allow optimum utilization of food, something I've imbibed in my own lifestyle and love it. So if you see me in a restaurant, you'll find me sitting with folded legs on the chair and with my back straight and eating in absolute bliss and slowly. It does add to how you see your food when your back is straight. I definitely encourage it. And now, a good reference on Ayurveda inspired Indian diet system is Rujuta Divekar's book, The Pregnancy Notebook. I recommend it to all my mothers in my childbirth classes. I read it when I was expecting and loved it. It does have a lot of traditional diets from Maharashtra and South India because she is from Maharashtra. So I had to find alternatives from up north. But you can definitely and you should definitely get this book if you are looking for an easy way of understanding the Indian diet system. Coconut water, nimbu pani, fruits, traditional jaggery based laddus are the base of this Indian diet system. And this book, fasting more than 12 hours is not recommended in our textbooks, in our spiritual books. This is also something that Dr. Brewer talks about, that fasting more than 12 hours is not recommended for women who are pregnant. And that is exactly what we say in Ayurveda. Rujita has an entire section on kidneys in her book, and they play a role in your blood pressure and acidity as they maintain fluid levels as well as gut bacteria, really. So, good food for kidney is good food for pregnancy, and it helps preventing edema and pre-eclampsia and pregnancy-induced hypertension. Salt to taste is both recommended by Dr. Brewer and Rujita and the Indian diet system. But the salt quality is something that you can look up and find out which source of the salt is best suited to you. Salt in chips and biscuits and all of the packaged food is a big no no. But pickles is good, it's great for you in pregnancy. So, traditional eating is mostly wisdom eating. The more we go back to it, the more we are rooted and disease free, right? Disease free, how they call it. So I hope this helped you in understanding how you can take care of your diet from now on, the food groups that you definitely do need to include in your diet. We will elaborate on diuretics and preeclampsia, eclampsia in the upcoming episodes. So stay tuned for that. My free awareness programs, like I said in the beginning, are live on the events tab now. Every third week, we talk about informed decision making and natural birth. This is open to all. You can sign up for it. For birth classes, inquire through the website birthagni.com. Traverse the labor land and own your birth are two programs that are running. You can just contact us and reach out to me and say this is what you're looking for. So see you soon in the next episode. Till then, love you all. The information about Dr. Brewer's pregnancy diet has been taken from drbrewerpregnancydiet.com. You can go ahead and check out this treasure house of information. And I hope this helps you as well.
There is a field beyond fear, where the body is empowered to take on labor and birth. To land there, it is crucial to take birth education. To enroll into our unique labor and birth preparation course, reach out to us at www.birthagni.com or scroll through all available prenatal and postnatal preparation classes. Thank you for listening, all in the spirit of birth, womanhood, and freedom. Remember, you got the bar. This podcast is about physiological birth and does not offer or claim to provide medical knowledge or diagnosis.
Starting a podcast with poor recording tools in the market? It was painful until I found Zencastr. Its high quality audio and video recording, along with the option of a backup, makes it super sturdy and a savior at times. With an easy to use dashboard and super convenient tools for advertising campaigns such as reels and videos, Zencastr is my comfort choice. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use my code BIRTHAGNI, BIRTHAGNI, and you will get 30% off of your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. I want you to have the same easy experiences I do for all my podcasting and content needs. You may also explore their free hobbyist plan to begin with.